Rolling Stone Magazine, A Rape on Campus, What Went Wrong by Sandra Alvarado. Hi, my name is Sandra Alvarado. I'm going to be covering a crisis that occurred for Rolling Stone Magazine in November of 2014 when they published an article entitled A Rape on Campus, A Brutal Assault and Struggle for Justice at UVA, written by Sabrina Ederle. It was an article about a young lady who was allegedly gang raped at the end of a party at a fraternity house on the campus of University of Virginia. Here's the problem. The journalist did nothing to substantiate the victim's claims. She didn't follow up on witnesses. She didn't follow up on any holes that she saw in the victim's story. She did nothing. Her editors and her publisher decided that they would go with the story even though they knew that there were holes in the victim's story. Shortly after the article was published, the Washington Post read the article and kind of thought, you know what, this doesn't sound right. Like there's holes in this story. And so they did a thorough investigation. In December of 2014, they issued an article which basically said that the Rolling Stone article was completely false. So what's at play is the reputation and integrity of Rolling Stone has come into question. It has been questioned month after month since November of 2014, and even as of May of 2015, it's still in the media forefront because a lawsuit was filed by the dean that was featured in the article. She filed a defamation of character suit against Rolling Stone magazine for multi-million dollars. And the fraternity involved and featured in the article also sued Rolling Stone. So this story continues to unveil as every month goes by. So let's take a look at what happened in this case. Here's the history. On November 19th, 2014, Rolling Stone published A Rape on Campus, A Brutal Assault and Struggle for Justice at UVA by journalist Sabrina Ederle. The article attracted over 2.7 million readers, which is more than any article on Rolling Stone's magazine website that had been published that was not about a celebrity. However, Ederle did not interview the following: witnesses that the victim, Jackie, claimed assisted her immediately after the rape, the student that Jackie allegedly went on a date with the night of the rape, anyone from the fraternity Phi Kappa Psi who could confirm the date of the alleged party where the rape occurred, or either of Jackie's parents to validate her claims. November of 2014, the Washington Post begins to look into the allegations made by Jackie in the Rolling Stone article, and Rolling Stone finds out about it. Almost simultaneously on December 5th, Rolling Stone issues a note to their reader at the same time that the Washington Post publishes key elements of Rolling Stone's UVA gang rape allegations in doubt by a journalist named T. Reese Shapiro. On December 6th, after reading the article written by the Washington Post, Rolling Stone retracts their article. And in December of 2014, Rolling Stone contacted the Columbia School of Journalism and requested that they conduct a full investigation into what went wrong. The involved parties of this crisis, on behalf of Rolling Stone, are journalist Sabrina Ederle. She worked for Rolling Stone for about 8 years. Her managing editor, Will Dana, her principal editor, Sean Woods, the publisher of the magazine, Jan Wenner, and the Rolling Stone fact checker, although Rolling Stone never released her name because they contend she had no decision-making authority, their attorney that represents Wenner Media, Natalie Crodell, the public, because the story affects everybody in the public, the students of the University of Virginia, because it casts a shadow on their integrity, and the media, because it speaks to integrity and reputation of all media and journalists. The response by Rolling Stone was rather immediate. Once they published the article, the journalists knew that there were holes and knew that there was a problem. And right about the same time that they published it, within a day or two, they knew that the Washington Post was looking into the article. So on December 5th, they issued a note to their readers about the discrepancies in the article. On December 6th, they amended their note to their readers. And then also on December 6th, they made the decision to retract the article. About 3 weeks later, they initiated an investigation into what went wrong with their article. They contacted the Columbia School of Journalism to conduct a thorough investigation. Columbia School of Journalism agreed to do the investigation. However, they had stipulations. One, they would not take any form of payment for the investigation. Two, that Rolling Stone comply and cooperate with the investigation thoroughly. And then three, that Rolling Stone promised to publish the investigation finding in its entirety in its paper, and it did do that. The public relations problem for Rolling Stone begins and ends with the fact that their reputation and integrity are in question. To add to that, the December 5th, 2014 publisher's note to the readers created even more scrutiny of the magazine because in essence they blamed Jackie for not being honest with them, which is why they amended their note to the readers on the 6th and then finally just pulled the article. There was never any disciplinary measures imposed on any Rolling Stone employee. And then finally, it created a negative effect on victims of campus sexual assault because it made victims seem as if their stories might be lies. And this is a negative effect on victims that are already going through a hard time. The media coverage for this crisis for Rolling Stone first emerged in traditional media. The media reports were saying that Rolling Stone and its journalists falsified facts and did not do proper basic journalism. And there was negative media coverage in all mediums, such as online outlets like Business Insider, the Huffington Post, CNN, NPR, Politico in Europe for Europe, Al Jazeera America, and The Guardian. And some of the print outlets are the New York Times, Newsweek magazine, The Washington Post, Cosmopolitan magazine, Time magazine, The Wall Street Journal, and The New Yorker, just to name a few. Here are just some of the headlines that were written about the Rolling Stone crisis. So what does the future look like for Rolling Stone? I think this crisis will continue to unveil. One, their reputation and integrity will probably always be at question. Two, the lawsuits that have recently come in. In May of 2015, the University of Virginia Dean Nicole Aramo filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Rolling Stone for defamation of character. She was featured in the article as the dean who the victim went to and basically did nothing about her case. And then also in May of 2015, the UVA chapter of Phi Kappa Psi filed a lawsuit against Rolling Stone. They were the fraternity where the alleged party took place. It was their fraternity house, and they were featured in the article as well. And Rolling Stone agreed to put in place procedures recommended by the Columbia School of Journalism to prevent this from happening again. What comes to play is how much of what Columbia said was basic journalism that they should have been following anyway, and now they're going to agree to follow it. So I guess their integrity and reputation will always be at play because it was basic journalism that they didn't follow to begin with. But we'll look forward to the future and see what'll happen, what other coverage will take place of this crisis for Rolling Stone.